you're tuning in from, welcome to this episode of Life Hacks. We've been streaming over the last 4 or 5 weeks now, where we're focusing on bringing some more developer content for you guys on the Polkadot main account. We're collaborating on behalf on so I'm collaborating on behalf of Web0 with the Polkadot main account to bring these episodes, this content that really is focused on cutting down to what it is that you need to know when you're building on Polkadot. And why is this stream special? Because it's not just your typical workshop kind of material where you're just there looking at a video for 45 minutes of someone looking at slides. We're inviting the best builders in the space using Polkadot and building with Polkadot to share their tips and to share their journey with building on the Polkadot tech stack and all things Polkadot. So today we have a very exciting guest that we, well, maybe some of you know him. I'm sure some of you have maybe used some of his stuff already. But the focus for this episode is to be like to bring some content for everyone that's at the hackathons right now. So there's a bunch of different hackathons happening right now. The biggest one is the Builder Party, but also at the end of no, what am I saying? In the middle of next month, there's going to be a really exciting hackathon that, shameless plug, I'm organizing, and I want people at that hackathon to be able to benefit from really good content. So this is why we're here. So what are we going to look into today? We're going to look at how to build Polkadot user interfaces very seamlessly and with the best practices from the latest libraries that have been developed to do this, to help you guys go from I have an idea to I can actually make it work and it looks and feels good. So I'm Sasha Lansky. I've been doing developer relations in the Polkadot ecosystem since 2021, which was when Polkadot started. And I've seen a lot of things developed in that time. And I have to say that there's no better time than right now to be building on Polkadot. So without further ado, I want to invite Nicholas, also known as Niftesti, who is going to be presenting us all his work on Polkadot-UI. Welcome, Nicholas. How's it going?
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here, Sasha.
Super cool to have you on the stream. Like I said, like you appear in many different places. You've worked on many different projects, so it's really like an honor to have you present your work and also share your best tips on building UIs in Polkadot.
Sure.
How long have you been actually developing in the Polkadot ecosystem?
I think I'm also here like you. 2021, I joined as like a hacker. I was just into NFTs and stuff, and I tried building NFT marketplaces or NFT showcases on Polkadot, but there was not like funding. There was nothing basically. But that's how I got into the ecosystem like 4 years ago now. And then I joined the second Polkadot Blockchain Academy in Buenos Aires. So I'm happy to be there again soon. And yeah, since then I've been building front ends and applications and did several different things. I'm happy to present my latest work now.
That's really awesome. Before we go into like the meat of what we're talking about today, the meat of why people should be excited right now to be watching this stream, because you guys are going to learn a lot, I hope, and we're going to really focus on like the main tips that you need to know to build UIs. But before we go into that, you mentioned a few things. So I want to share with the audience that you're going to be a mentor at the Sub-Zero hack. What is this Sub-Zero hack about? Maybe you can share a little bit from your experience also being a mentor at one of the previous Web0 hackathons. Why is this hackathon special, and what are you excited about?
Well, as I understand it, it's all about building products. There's like things that bring value to the DOT token, I would say. And we're not only funding like hackathon projects, but we're also trying to help the participants go to market, like finding a market fit, improving their product or placing it at prominent positions in the ecosystem, like really having a long-term mentorship and support for hackathon participants. I think that's most important, and I'm trying to help people building and pursue that goal.
Yeah, so for anyone that's curious about joining the Sub-Zero Hackathon, sign up at the Luma page. You can find it. I can share it in the link. It's luma.com/subzerohack. Hence our backgrounds here. This is your opportunity to learn directly in person from people like Nicholas. So Nicholas has a lot of experience. Maybe we can jump right in. You said that you were at Buenos Aires for the PBA. How was that? What was your builder journey into developing yourself in the Polkadot ecosystem?
It was really awesome, I have to say. I would recommend it to everyone. At the time I joined, there was only one track, like building the Polkadot runtime. Now there's also a front end or a application track, which is cool, which I would have wished at the time I went there. I was trying to build, I mean, I did all the stuff that you learn there. We built palettes, custom palettes and custom chains. But it was not really focused on front-end development, because at that time, nobody was actually building lots of front ends. There were like 4 or 5 major applications that had React front ends. But yeah, it's changing now, and I think it's a really good direction. And now it's important to also get users on board, and we need nice user interfaces with great UX. And that's what all the presentation today will be about, I guess.
So that's been your focus. And want to shill any projects that you worked on in the past?
Yeah, I think most recently I've completed the new Ink website, use.ink. It's like for the Ink smart contract language, the Rust smart contract language. Yeah, but I basically, I started building templates for I started building apps, and then I always trying to, refactor or factor out things that you need to use all the time. Then I started publishing a template that was used quite a lot, an Next.js template. And now the next step really was for me to build not a template, because it might be too opinionated for many people, but build really the basic components for applications that you can use in your template. And many things have been going on behind the scenes. The Polkadot API was developed, and the D-Dot API, but we will go into that, I think. I don't know if you're new to the ecosystem. There might be some things to catch up, but yeah, Polkadot API is what we will be working today with, and Reactive Dot as well, which is basically a library to make working with Polkadot API easier. You can maybe compare it to WAGMI and the Ethereum ecosystem. And that's also what the components are built on. I'm presenting today.
Cool. Okay, so one last thing before we jump into the meat of it. You want to talk about your role as a curator on the UX Bounty.
Yeah, I've joined this year. Sorry?
Yeah, and what's that about?
Yeah, the UX Bounty is like a bounty found by the Treasury, and we are aiming for improving the user experience on Polkadot, which is also having branches into developer experience.
You know what? Maybe I'll just share my screen while you're talking about it. People can have a visual of it.
Yeah.
But let me know if I'm sharing the right thing. Yeah.
So yeah, you can also show
page. This is everything you need to know about the UX Bounty. It's a Notion site that we can
We
share.
also have a website.
Okay.
uxbounty.xyz. Well, we're maybe most known in the ecosystem for UX audits. We're working with different contractors to audit existing high-profile applications in Polkadot, like how can UX be improved. We're also helping the teams set up like metrics, performance metrics for the applications, set up different funnels to really test if features work in the Polkadot ecosystem. Yes, and we also kickstart several initiatives. For example, the unified address format, or all substrate chains had different address formats, which one project of the UX Bounty was to only reduce it to one. Several things to improve the user experience in the whole ecosystem, I would say, is our mission. Yeah.
Really cool. Well, I think that having such an initiative in the ecosystem is so important. You guys have already shown a lot of value, and your role in particular, I think, is one where you're really focused on developer experience. You're trying to make the user experience for developers much better. And I think it's a very interdisciplinary field. I think that touches on like product vision, UX, and best
Yeah.
practices on UI development.
Also, onboarding new developers, or I don't know, finding subjects for good tutorials or reviewing tutorials. Yeah, something like that.
So
Good.
we have a bunch to get through today. I think we should get right into it.
Yeah,
So
let's go.
like, what are the next? So okay, why don't you let us know what the next kind of 20 minutes is going to look like? Our goal today is to first of all showcase the library that you built to make it really easy to build beautiful UIs on Polkadot.
Yeah. I will start with showing what we built. We also built a website you can go to, as it's a resource of knowledge, and you will find info on how to build with our library. And then I will just demo, like creating an app from scratch using our components. And I will finish with some vibe coding, because we also built an MCP for the library, and I will try to make my agents use the components from the library and work with them.
I'm excited. I'll try to follow along. I think that we're gonna start from scratch when we do the live coding, so I'll try to follow along and let you know how it goes. But
yeah,
at this point, maybe you can share your screen and kick it off.
Let's go. Can you see something?
Yes, perfect.
Wait a second. Yeah, maybe you can share the link, Polkadot-UI.com.
Yep. I got this, yeah.
So I'm just going to show you what we built in the last month. We built several components. I think it's 11 now, that you can use in your React user interfaces. We're currently only supporting React, not Vue, but that might come in the future. And we also built for DDOT and for Polkadot API. So you can even pick the library you want to use for chain connections, chain queries. Yeah, let me show you. Because we need it everywhere, a wallet connection component. You can connect different wallets. Talisman, Polkadot.js are supported. You can select an account. You can select different accounts. And you can use it in your applications. You also see, like, the next component is already changing. It's one of the biggest components we're offering is like a transaction button that you can use to trigger chain transactions, which you can define yourself. For each component, we also have like a code tab that shows you how easily or how quickly you can use the button, or how you can work with it. So,
Yeah,
for example, sorry.
You can copy that snippet right into your React project.
Yeah, basically. There's links to docs and examples. You can check them out. If you want more info, there's also more examples in the docs. For example, ways to customize the components. But let me not jump too quickly. Well, you see, this is a quite complex component, transaction button. You can naively implement it, but there's more things to it than just triggering an on-chain reaction. For example, our button displays the fees it will cost to trigger the transaction. It will also check if the connected account has the required fees in their wallet to pay for the transaction. And for example, I have now an account that has enough fees that can trigger the transaction. It will open the wallet pop-up, but it will also show like a notification. And all of that stuff is what is easily missed if you just write or vibe code something really quickly for a hackathon. But it's what really increases the user experience. Here you get a status update that the user canceled the transaction, that you're awaiting the signature. Let me just show what happens. And it will display a link to the Explorer. There's like all these little details that get missed and that we try to build into our components from scratch, and also develop the CLI, which easily lets you use these components. Before jumping into
at a high level, so really the problem that you're solving by making this library is to remove all the complexity and the complexity of certain transactions that you'd want to do on Polkadot, but also avoid code duplication and copying the same types of codes across different projects, because a lot of the things are the same thing, whether it's like seeing the transaction status or the identity of a user and things like this.
Yeah, exactly. Before we started writing the library, it was like an RFP from the UX Bounty, who saw the need in a kind of a component library like that. And we also did research, like we analyzed all different ecosystems. They do have component libraries available, Ethereum and Solana, for example, but we also looked at Polkadot projects and tried to find which components are used in every of these apps, like let's say hydration or Hyperbridge or other applications on Polkadot. And like these 11 components we have here now are some that we like factored out and found they would be useful. Let me go over it maybe quickly. We have like a wallet account selection, transaction button I already showed. We have an address input with built-in identity search. You can, for example, if you don't want to copy an address, you can also search for verified identities. Let's say we want to
take my second there. I think I verified my identity since we did.
Oh, then let's like this.
CHA. SACHA. Let's see. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is really cool. Wow, I'm very impressed. I get how easy it is to bring this component.
It's querying the chain live, and it also has like a copy button. It truncates the address. You can also change something here. It even works for EVM addresses and stuff, and there's many more features to add. Then we have like an account info with a profile picture. That's also chain data that is red here. You can see like links to all the socials the user has added to their chain profile. You can also copy the address. And we have a network indicator that can show you like which chains you are connected to. We have a balance display with where you can show a balance. Let's say my account has 2,000 USDC. You can also show like arbitrary tokens, and you can also have a reference token, like for example USDC, or you can convert it to any token that you wish. We have an amount input that lets you, for example, input dot and also have a USD equivalent if you want. It also features a max button it's also seen in many user interfaces that lets you like input the maximum amount you have in your account. Token selection windows that are also easily customizable. You can always check how simple it is. Like this is the component. You can define asset IDs that you want to display, and with balance, it's like a property. But we will go into that. And yeah, these are like just simple wrapper components. Yeah, that's what we built. And you can also start building with it today, basically, and use it for your hackathon projects. Questions so far?
Well, I think the next question is, how can I use this for my hackathon project?
Yes, and then let me jump into it. Can you see my terminal? I guess, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we built the CLI. You saw it on you can also see it here. You can use your favorite package manager to use our tool. I will use PNPM because I always use it, but people might want to change or use something else. Let me just first start by, wait a second. Listing all available components. It will display what we have, like account info, address input, and it will also tell you how to use them. You can just write this command. But what is not written here, we can also use our CLI to really scaffold a new project, which I will do with the init command. I always add the at latest because it will make sure you don't use a cached version of the library that was maybe downloaded by your package manager before. And let me initialize a new project. Let's call it Polkadot-UI demo. And we are presented with a choice of frameworks. I will pick Next.js, and let's go with Polkadot API because like ddot has been presented already. And yeah, it will just basically use the CLI of Next.js. It's just using the official one. Then it will install some dependencies like the Polkadot API you can see here.
So I want to know, I'm doing it myself here, and I just blindly took the command that's in the terminal of the website, and it automatically said, "You don't have a project. You want to create a project."
Yeah, exactly. That's
the command is to add a transaction button. So I'm just sharing with anyone. If anyone else is following along right now, it's a super simple step. Just install this package and it'll get you started, prompt you all the things that you're seeing on the screen right now.
So after what I just basically did is just initialize a new Next.js project, but it also added like required libraries. Let me just open it so we can see what it actually did. I will increase my screen size a little bit. Can you see it like this?
Yeah, this is good.
Okay, well, you can see it just installed some packages on top of Next.js. So we can start adding our components right away, but let me run it just to check it works. So yeah, this is like a blank, empty Next.js project. So, and now we can actually start adding components to it with the add command we just saw. I will start maybe with a simple one, the network indicator. It's all you have to do is like the Polkadot-UI latest add, and then the component name you found before, and you see it created 7 new files in the project, but also it will add like metadata that is needed to connecting to the Polkadot chain. We're adding like Paseo test network configurations here. And while this runs, I can show you and like what is added to the folder. Like one rationale we used here is we're building on shadcn, which front-end developers will know or should know, should learn, which is like a new philosophy behind component libraries. You don't add like a black box, but every component and every part of the library is really added to your code, which enables you to really change everything. You don't have to rely on the developer and change like certain properties they want you to change, but you can really see that everything from the component is added, and you can change everything you want. Not like only colors or radius or whatever, but you can like really change the whole structure. You really own the code. So it's still adding the chain configuration data, which will take some time.
Would you say that that's also a better practice to use shadcn for vibe coder setups? Because you can do everything, right? Versus it's a bit of a black box, and then your vibe code tool will kind of get lost.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the way I code today, and for me, it's the best practice. There are other opinions here, but I think the community is really big. At least in the React community, shadcn is like a go-to tool for building new applications. There's many component libraries, and what we built is like the Web3 component library for Polkadot now. But there's like, I mean, I'm sure front-end developers will know shadcn already.
Yeah.
So this has been added now. You see that these are the two. We added the network indicator, and it added also some dependencies. but I don't need to go into too many details here. Let me just open up cursor again because I have some type errors here. But you can ignore that for now. Wait a second. It is because types need to be generated, but it will be gone when I reopen cursor. Yes, so let me run the server again. There we can see what we're building. Like we have this empty Next.js project here. We didn't add the component yet, but it gave us instructions on what to do after we have completed the installation. We need to wrap our application in a provider, which is basically what reactive.dot wants us to do. It just provides some context to our application that we can connect to wallets, and we build on that. So we will do that, and then we can add our component to the application. It also shows you where you can find more info, it has a link to our documentation at polkadot.ui.com. And you can also find examples here on how to customize the component.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go. And as we have a Next.js project, I will add my wrapper here.
You know what? I'll ask you to just zoom in even more. I think it'll be better for people that are watching on their mobile.
Let me check. I can also move that away and close this chat for now. Yeah, better?
Yeah.
So I wrapped my application in the Polkadot provider. You can also, as I said, it was added to the project. You can change every aspect of it. I don't need to go too much into detail. I just encourage you to read the documentation of, for example, reactive.dot and Polkadot API, of course, as you will be building on that. So I wrap my app, and then I can just go to the page. And let's remove all that stuff for now. Hello, Polkadot-UI. Let's see if it worked. Yes. And now we can add our component. It was called network indicator, exactly. So you can see it expects some properties we are missing. It only expects the add. I don't comment on this now, but you can basically select a chain, and if you want the best or the latest finalized block, and boom, here we have the component already on the page. Let me add one more. We can also, build multi-chain apps, of course. We can connect to Perseo people. Wait, fix this a little bit. Yeah, so we have now two components. You can customize them in any way you like. I can also show that maybe quickly. For example, we have a rounded border radius. It has a gray color. Let's say you want something different. Wait a second. Let's say as you have control of the components, and you might know Tailwind, so you only search for rounded. You have a rounded medium. Let's put it to rounded none, and you have you can change this. You can also change the color of the border if you want. You can just basically fit it to what you need for your application. I didn't show that. Let me tell me if I'm going too fast.
Yeah. So I'm going to pause you there. So I'm following along, and I think one thing that users might not get very intuitively the first time is take us from when you're generating the chain descriptors, and I think you had to restart your cursor for whatever reason. But right now I'm still at that stage, and then I'm about to add the component through the command. But yeah, maybe take us from the chain descriptor stuff and maybe explain a little bit what's happening there.
Well, it's all based on reactive.dot, which I told you, which is I would say, if you put it easily, it's like a hooks library, but it is more for Polkadot API, and it lets you define your chain configurations in a config file. Like here, it was added to the application. You can basically define which chains you want your application to connect to.
Yeah.
And you have to, in order to connect to these chains, you have to add descriptors from Polkadot API. I will go into more detail, like we will add Polkadot, like now we're on Paseo only. I will add Polkadot later and walk you through the process of adding new chains if you want.
Cool. So just to be clear, what was the command that you had to run to generate the descriptors, or is it automatically done when you add the command?
Yeah, it was automatically generated for when I ran this add component for the first time. Here you see. Wait, where was it? Oh no, it was in the initial init command, but it will be added when you run the add component along the way. I will.
Nice. I've added it. I'm following now. Network indicator, and then class name, and then show logo. Wait, no. What are the fields? Yeah.
You might need to comment out these Polkadot chains for now because we didn't add chain descriptors for them.
Okay.
That's one thing I need to fix, but then it should work. But
cool.
Like for a short break, let me show you what I actually wanted to show, but I forgot. Like as we're using Tailwind and shadcn, front-end developers will know there's like easy ways to theme it. Like, and we built as we build on those libraries, you can easily use like other themes for your application, like a dark theme, a light theme, crazy things. But we didn't that like to play around, but it's if you're already building an app and if you already have like a theme set up, it will just apply it. Like that's the main goal behind it. So if you like have a shadcn Tailwind CSS theme, our components will not look totally different, but they will like look like the other components on your app basically.
This is really cool. This is so cool.
That's what we had in mind when building this. Like this is a Twitter theme, and you will see everything is themed like Twitter, the border radius, and like all the other stuff that's appearing.
Like if you're for example at a hackathon and you're submitting something, that means that like you could be working maybe on different products or like front ends, and not worry about just copy pasting all the CSS. You could just be
exactly
configuring your project in a way that it's just so easy and have consistency between themes. That's a huge thing. I sometimes lose so much time tweaking on the designs, on the colors, and just going back in CSS and Tailwind stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would go
and dev. So this is huge.
Yeah. That would go too deep now, but yeah, like that's the goal why Tailwind was built basically, and that's why shadcn is so successful, I think, because you can easily like customize everything to your needs, and you can also like use themes that also already come with whatever your company theme or whatever you're building, and it's all based on CSS variables in this global CSS file, which you can easily change like radius or colors or whatever you wish. Yes, but let's go back to the application. I think what I wanted to do is basically build a whole token transfer app. So I will just continue like adding more components. If you agree, that's a good process.
Yeah, I think that's a great process.
So now we just added like a simple, this is just for showcasing. We're connected to chains, all fine. Let me add the address input component I already showed you on the page. So now what you can see is it will be much faster now. It detected that we used Polkadot API, not DDoT. It asks us if we want to override. You can go with the defaults, and now it's ready. It added 9 files, so it was like really fast now. Here we have the 2 address input files we need, and let's also add that to the page. Maybe I create a new component.
So we're writing a UI right now that allows a user to put in the specify the address from which the funds are sent from, and where another input field for where they're going to. Is that correct?
We will, in this case, use the connect wallet component. I already also showed you to use as the from account. You use your wallet address, and we will have an address input for the recipient, and we will have an amount input where you can define how much you want to send, and we will have like a transaction button that will actually trigger the transaction. That's
Cool.
the goal. Okay, well, let me just do some quick things here and add the address input component. See if it works. No, it's somewhere else. Wait a second. Too zoomed in. I didn't add it yet to the page. Here we have the send form. Here it is. So now you can search identities like I showed you. But you will notice we cannot find Sasha and we cannot find Gavin Wood, which is strange, but which is because we are still on Paseo, which is the default chain. But we can define a new chain here. But like that's what we talked about. In order to do that, we will add. We'll need to add new chain descriptors. I know it can be a lot like for new people, but if you have worked with Polkadot-API, which is like the go-to library, you will know that process. And,
I think I just to pause here for maybe novel developers in the ecosystem. It's really just the same paradigm as generating an ABI for a smart contract, except you need to generate an ABI for an entire blockchain, and these entire blockchains do specific things. And well, Paseo is the test net. So Paseo doesn't have all the registered names because it's just the test net. I'm personally registered on mainnet, so that's what Nicholas is describing.
Exactly.
We're going to need to generate the descriptors for Polkadot mainnet.
For Polkadot people, in fact. But yeah, almost. Let's say I already, wait a second, I already have the command here.
And this is definitely something that newcomers have a little bit of trouble understanding intuitively, but it's once they get it, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because Polkadot is a network of blockchains, then therefore, of course, if I have an application that talks to a lot of the blockchains, I'm going to need to generate these ABIs, these descriptors for each of those blockchains. So yeah,
very good that you mentioned it. You will see it here in the Polkadot API documentation. And as we want to work with Polkadot people, this is the command we run now. I don't want to go into detail, but it just adds network descriptors for Polkadot people. And we can now, in the reactive.config, add this network. Here, I already have this commented in. It will come with that code if you use our components. So this is all it needed to add Polkadot people connections, and we can now define the identity. Look, it already knows what you want to do. It already knows that we want to set the identity chain to Polkadot people. And let's see now if it works. It should now know Sasha. Yes, here it is. So this would be like who we want to send. Let's maybe add a label. So this is where we want to send the funds to. And we want to add like an amount input and a connect wallet component. So the user can actually trigger transactions from their wallet. So I will add more components here. If you forget which components there were, you can always use the list command or check our website. But there's this connect wallet component. Sorry?
The PMPA papi add command, is it intentional that there's a string at the end? There's a character at the end of that string that's off?
No, I think I just added it now. I didn't run it with that command.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. That was weird. It was the same thing.
Sorry. And we will add the amount input already. All these components are, like I said before, just copied to your application, so you can tinker with them, do whatever you want. So I think it will know what we want to do. Yes, we want an amount, but we want to use the amount input component. That's what we want to use sale. Let's see if it works. I will go into more details, but let me just finish this.
I'll let you finish this stretch.
Yes, wait a second. I just want to see if it works, and then you can ask question, or I will go into more details. Yes, we have an amount input here. We have the two. Wait, I remove these. Yeah. And now we need to add the connect word, which is just this command, this component. Yes. So now we can use we can see our accounts we want. We can input like the recipient, and we will be able to send some funds. Yes, now question. Sorry, I'm going a little fast, but I want to finish in time.
No, this is a good stretch. We just did a big sprint to get to where we are right now, and honestly, it was no more than 7 minutes. What we finished in 7 minutes probably would have taken at least several hours, even for an experienced developer, to make it look this pretty and this robust. I mean, I can only attest to the robustness because it works. You're showing me that the identity field is actually finding the addresses correctly. This is really cool.
I hope.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. It's the fastest way to do a front end that actually works without all the headache.
Yeah, I hope you can imagine, I mean, we're just adding the components, but of course you will have a template, or you will have an application, and you can just plug that component into your app, which is was our goal.
So let's just do a quick recap for listeners here. What is the pattern, right? I think that there's a very obvious pattern. I have a component I want to do. I'm gonna. Can you just recap the pattern that you recommend here?
I would say first thing you do is go to our website and see, or maybe you just scaffold your app first and you try, you add a wallet connection button, and you add a button that triggers your transaction after you've figured out how to do it with Polkadot API. And then you can basically just replace that simple buttons you use, or simple address inputs where you can only input strings, and you can then replace them by our components, which you can do with the add commands I just showed you.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
go ahead.
The components get added to your code base, and then you can add them to your page, replacing your simple inputs with our input components with identity search, or transaction button, for example.
Solid. I mean, it's so simple. I don't have much more to say or to add, and I think I invite people to look into documentation to see what other things that they can, how they can modify each component that exists.
Yeah, sure. We also have a Telegram channel. You can wait. Maybe I can send a link. I don't know how we do it best. It's called Polkadot-UI, basically. I think
I can share that. Yeah, I can share at the end. Why don't we speed through? I know that we wanted to MPC stuff, and we're maybe running a little bit out of time, but this has been super, super valuable. I think taking our time here is important for those that want to rewatch this, and then you guys can always come find Nicholas. He'd be happy to help you in the Telegram chat. Let's get right to the next section. This is the exciting part for all the vibe coders out there.
But wait, this is not finished.
Not done yet. Okay, sorry.
I will be fast. Like I add the transaction button and connect it, so you can actually run the thing, and then I will show you the MCP we built. Because like I think front-end development has really changed in the last year, with agents becoming really good, and you see how like I'm prompting or like auto-completing all that stuff. So we quickly create a send button. Really quick. TX button. Yes, we want it to be on Paseo, and now we need the transaction. You find the doc on our page. You can construct it like this. This is a reactive dot function. We need to also define the chain. Then we get the API from Polkadot API. And this is like the transaction. It's also, everything is typed. So you can see the palettes that you have available here. We're going to use the balances palette, and the extrinsic is transfer keep alive. It takes some, we want to this big end. I can also push the code to a repository later if you want to have a look.
So we're constructing the transaction right now. We're using balance palettes, transfer keep alive function, and specifying the inputs for that.
Exactly. And then the transaction button really takes that chain ID parameter and the transaction, which is constructed here. Where's this? Expect network. So this is what it takes, I guess. And if everything works in this demo now, and when I add the button, of course, then we build like this full form. Of course, I mean, I know I'm going fast here, but I will push the code. You can have a look later. And wait a second. This is basic React. I'm not going to go into that now. This is, maybe I'm going too fast. Then button. Let me check.
No worries. I'll take your time. Yes.
Next.js magic.
Next.js stuff. That I know about.
Next.js. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's send Sasha some money. No, the other Sasha.
Yay, send me all your money.
Wait, what is this? I will check some. We're probably on a wrong network. Maybe I was going too fast. This is sad. Wait.
We got this. We got this.
What happens in live demos, right? We want maybe asset hub for the send button. And here we want asset hub too.
But we have Polkadot and then okay, I see what you're doing. Wait.
Well, I have another. Huh?
Because you're using Polkadot as the sending chain, and then you're sending it. So that's probably the error, no?
Wait, let me check what you're talking about. Send form. No, I only use it for the identity, which is good.
Uh-huh.
Let me display the values really quick. Of course, I didn't connect the values here to the inputs. That's the issue. I need to do something like this.
Cool.
You know it when you work with inputs. Yeah, now it looks like no error. What do we send Sasha? Really little.
Nice. Thank you. I need more pass.
Let's
It's
see
very
if it
expensive
works.
to do smart
Okay.
contracts.
Yeah.
Theo. Okay,
Good.
cool.
Now it's running. We forgot to add the transaction notification thing you saw. Sorry, I am losing time, I know, but yeah.
No, I think you're actually doing great.
I have some minutes to show the MCP, but yeah, it's all documented on the website, and just like this is a short demo. Yes, try again. I'm always misspelling your name, sorry. 0.01. Here now you see. Okay, and it will probably, hopefully, show the transaction button. We can analyze, use it to see it in the block explorer that the transaction was really sent, as long as it works. If it doesn't, please bear with me. It's just a quick demo. And yeah, let's go. Yeah, here you can see the transaction was triggered. It's on the shadcn block explorer. And yeah, that's like the quick short app. It's still waiting for block finalization. You can see it great, good
Okay,
here,
so
but
you
yeah.
need once we're done this stream, you'll share this little repo that everyone who's been watching from up until now knows that they can submit this to a hackathon, and it's probably they can turn it into a pay your friends for the restaurant bill kind of DApp, fully working on Polkadot, done in 15 minutes probably tops. So
yeah, maybe there's a little bit more. You need a good idea, but yeah, you can use.
Well, yeah, I mean, are we done with the basic kind of stuff before we move on to MCP? We can take a little bit more time. So I guess here to close up, to wrap up here, what are your tips for hackers that are going to use this library? Obviously, we went through the patterns, what the library is made of and how you can really use it. But what's kind of like an approach, the best approach you would recommend someone that wants to build fast and ship something that works?
I don't know. Maybe I would start with the idea, doing a small demo. Like we're talking front ends here now, so try to know the extrinsics. Try to know like the chain actions you want to trigger. Try to know the pellets you need to call to read from the chain, and then do some basic mock-ups and try if it works. And if it works, you can go crazy and vibe code or do a nice interface for it that you can influence the judges by having a nice user experience, and you can use our library for that.
Yeah, I think that's very solid advice. I would even start with maybe drawing out what you want to build, and then map all of the functionalities that you need to trigger, like the on-chain functions. What it is that what are the components that you need, and how are they interacting with the blockchain, and then go into Polkadot-UI and check out what's already there. Is there any advice to give to developers that find that there's a component they really want but isn't already there? How would they go about it? How can they?
Sure. I think first step would be to talk to us. I mean, we have like really basic components, I would say, but we could imagine building on top of that, like let's say a swap component, more like more complex examples. And we can, of course, everything is open source on GitHub. You see it here. You can do pull requests, but we can also have a chat and Telegram first if it makes sense, or what we can develop here. So yeah, we're happy for contributors as well. Like if you find yourself using one component in every of your apps, it should probably be added to our library, I guess. Yeah, let's go MCP.
Cool. Yeah, let's do it.
Like on our page, we added a convenient link that lets you like add the MCP server to Polkadot. If you don't to Cursor, if you don't know, MCP is basically a tool for agents to use certain tools, like API calls for developers, MCPs for agents, and we already added it here to our Cursor MCP setup. You can see we added the Polkadot-UI MCP. It allows us to do all this stuff I just showed you, add component, list component into the project, and some telemetry set, but you don't have to. So now we try, let's ask first our agent which components are available in Polkadot-UI, and it should trigger the list command and tell us. It's a little bit slow, but it's my internet. And look, now it used the tool list components from Polkadot-UI. It got a response, and it will now display the answer to us. I mean, you can, of course, also code without that MCP. You can just ask your agent to, I don't know, change the components like you want. I can also showcase that. You can also say maybe, I don't know, make the background of the amount input Polkadot pink. But that's like, you don't need an MCP for that. But here you can see the answer. It read our, it used our MCP to fetch the available components. It's displaying them here with a short description. So it would theoretically also be able to find some components like from chat. When you say like, I want to do a send form, token send form, like we did now manually, it will probably use these components from our library from scratch. I don't have the time. I have not even tested it, but I'm like, this is how it works with other component libraries. So yeah, this is like something else now, but what we actually want to do is now showcase how the agent also can add one component. Like here, this is like my last prompt. It changed the background color. I think it should have, yeah, like here at least that's some pink shade. So let's say we want to add one more component. For example, we could use the account info component here, this one, on, let's say, the person I selected here, Sasha Lansky. Maybe we can find some more info, and we can ask the agent, can you add the, let's stop this first, account info component from Polkadot-UI, and it should display the address that is selected in the address input to an form, something like that. Like we don't know the results now because agents like non-deterministic, but in theory, it should call our MCP now and add the component with the CLI command.
Yeah, so we already know where to expect, like where this is going to be updated in the project, in the UI components, and then is it going to add a button? What are we doing here?
No, we're trying to add this. I showed you this, like this card.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, it's just a card. Okay.
That displays your identity, hopefully. Look here, it ran our tool, our MCP. Now let's see if it works. It does agent things. I mean, agents are good for some things, but some things are better done manually. That's why I walked you through the manual process. It will do like non-deterministic stuff, but it will get better. You can also, I mean, you probably have your agent rules set up, and if it knows your style and what you have done in the past, it will become better.
Yeah, I think if you know what you're doing, the more you know what you're doing, the more confident you can be with your agent, I guess, like in asking it very specific things.
Sure.
And the best way to really know what you're doing is to at least start manually. I think that's a good tip. Start manually, like get a grips with the library if you can, if you have those skills at least, and then go into MCP stuff, which is what we're doing now, which is faster, but sometimes maybe more prone to error. So if it's prone to error, that means you're better off knowing where those errors could be.
I think it failed. Use the MCP to add the account info first. It's doing agent stuff, thinking a lot and burning lots of tokens. But yeah, like our idea here was also like having these components built from scratch. You probably save a lot of time prompting. I mean, you would, if you build like an input address input component, for example, you start with a simple input and you tell it, hey, maybe you can add some validation that you can only input valid substrate addresses. Then you prompt your way to a thing we have built now, but the components we have built have already been like reviewed by UX professionals from the UX bounty to define the features we want to add. And yeah, I hope you will see from what we built that it's good for UX, and it's cool that you, for example, can exchange just search identities and then address input component. And you also have like validation, like for example, our component only shows how you say, like verified addresses from verified registrars. You have to know all that information before you can prompt your way to a component like that, of course.
Cool. So that's a really good overview of what you've been building here, Nicholas. I think it's a super valuable project for the ecosystem and for newcomers coming into Polkadot and wanting to build something fast. Is it doing anything right now? Are we making progress?
It's doing its thing. It's wait, I don't even know it used the wrong package manager. I guess it used npm and now it has to install some things from scratch. But I'm sure it will soon do the right thing. Look. Yeah, now it runs pnpm Polkadot-UI latest add account info, and now we have it here.
Nice.
So it worked, and now I hope it will continue to add this account info to the page. But I think we can also stop here, and I think I showed what I wanted to show.
Let's see if it needs how many more steps it's gonna do. Add account info. I thought it did that again, but
yeah, it did it already.
Yeah, no, I mean, I personally see the power of this like so clear. I think to recap, we showed the manual process and now we're showing the MCP process for people that are more into vibe coding. The key is like just add the MCP to your project and then be specific in what you're asking. So have a look at the docs. I think you guys did a really good job in having documentation pretty clear. I love how it starts with what you can actually build. Like the components are there usable on the website. So I think that's a big piece of advice to builders out there that want to use Polkadot-UI. I think we can wrap up here. And in wrapping up, Nicholas, I wanted to ask you, probably we can get back to. So what's next for the project? And how can people, contribute? Where can they ask for help? I think you mentioned a Telegram chat. But yeah, let's start with what's next. What's next for the project? What do you envision?
Yeah, I mean, there's many things that can be built, but we're currently like in an evaluation phase. Like I said, it was a grant from the UX bounty, and we're currently trying to find builders actually using it. We need to make sure it is actually used and it is useful. And we can only do that by when hackers use our library, when they give us feedback, or even if they contribute. I mean, you can start by giving us a GitHub star and joining the discussion, I guess. Like, that's the best for us. And if it is successful and if people use it, we will surely continue. Like, there's the Polkadot Hub upcoming. We will include some, let's say, smart contract functionality or specific components for that, whatever comes.
Cool. So now we're in the phase where let's use this library and build cool things with it. So I think there's no better time. I said this in the beginning of the introduction of the stream, that like there is no better time to build on Polkadot than this year. I really believe that that's a thing. Like that's true. Like you mentioned, when you were at PBA, building front ends was tedious. Nobody was really building front ends. The tooling wasn't there. The frameworks weren't there. Yeah.
Yeah, but many great things are happening. Like templates are popping up, front ends are getting better, and I think what we tried is like do our part and in making it a better developer experience to create great front ends, and as a result, we will have better user experience in Polkadot too.
Yeah, 100%. So I urge you builders, those that are participating online at the builder party, check out Polkadot-UI. And if you have any questions, I'll share a link about all the resources that you need to know on my Twitter. So you can find me there and you'll find a post I'll do after this stream. And for everyone that is coming to Buenos Aires, make sure that you register to the hackathon of the year for people that are looking to really launch MVPs and be part of an accelerator program with really, really good mentors like Nicholas and like a lot of other people in the ecosystem that are stepping up to help. So be there, sign up, and Nicholas, I'll see you in Buenos Aires.
Yeah, see you soon, and hopefully some of our viewers.
Yep. All right. Yeah. And yeah, come see us. Come see us at the mentorship booth if you are viewing this and planning to come to Buenos Aires. We'd love to say hi. Okay.
Cool.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you, Sasha.
Bye.